Every snap is an interview.
After the Snap.
What a snap.
Hey, keep your mouth shut, 50!
I lead by example.
With Blake and Reed Ferguson, discussing life in, out, and after football.
To be able to leave walking away with a degree and a championship, it couldn't be any better.
Yeah!
Well, you can take this boy out the real South Thunder, but you can't take the real South out of my voice. And now here we go again, twist a little bit deeper because I got thick skin.
Blake, welcome back to the show. It's a fantastic Thursday night. I posted this on Twitter earlier today, and I know you saw it because you replied, but just wanted to get your thoughts on laundry detergent. This has been a heavily debated topic in my household for pretty much since Erica and I got married and we started living with each other. Even before then, because she would come visit and wash clothes or whatever. Powder versus pods or liquid. I have used powder my whole life. But over recent years, I have noticed the dwindling options at the supermarket or wherever you shop for your household items. There's only one size of Tide powder at my local Target where we shop for household items. There used to be a big container that would last me a long time.
128 loads.
Yeah, probably something like that.
That's what it says on
I
the side
can't
of the
find
box.
it. Can't find it anywhere now. Wanted to know your thoughts and why so many people are on the pods train.
Well, I think just if you were just joining the show, you had no other context. The fact that I knew exactly how many loads are in a box of powdered detergent should tell you what kind of laundry detergent I use. I actually do have both right now. I went to Publix 2 weeks ago and they didn't have powder. I was completely out of Tide laundry detergent and I needed to do a load of laundry. And so I was like, okay, I am going to buy Tide pods. Here we go.
Succumb to the pressure.
I did. I bought the small little container because I was anticipating going later and buying another box of the powder, which I did. However, I have actually enjoyed using the pods.
Because?
Convenience.
Okay.
And also
it's convenient to scoop.
And also, well, there's nothing more convenient than picking up a little pod and just tossing it in the laundry.
Okay.
But
continue.
Apparently research suggests from our friend on Twitter.
I have not read
research
there's
suggests,
a lot of replies to that tweet. I have not weeded my way through.
Yeah, you got 84 responses to.
Yeah, I've seen probably
powdered laundry detergent.
I've seen probably 8 of them.
But I think we should mention the specific tweet that I think you responded to it from Mike. I think it's Chesniak.
Mike C.
Mike S.
S.
Z,
Mike
S.
S.
Mike S. Z C Z E S Niak. S.
Okay.
C S Z C.
Tweet from Mike.
Mike Consonant. From a chemical standpoint, the powder does a better job than the liquid as it dissolves the enzymes, breaks down the dirt better, and leaves clothes much cleaner.
It's true. A lot of people.
Are you a chemist?
No, but the few responses that I saw were talking about clumps of detergent like left in their clothes. I've literally
powder.
Yes.
I have had that happen.
I have
before.
literally never had that problem. So either
the
y'all
problem
are
is
using too much detergent.
So I will give you the feedback from my personal experience on the matter, and we
Hold on.
promise not to take up the entire podcast today talking.
Let me
about
ask,
detergent.
do you pour it on the clothes?
See,
That's the issue.
That's the issue.
I pour it in the drawer.
When you so see, mine is top
You don't
load.
have a drawer.
Mine is top load at my house here in Florida. It's top load, and so you either put it in before you put the clothes in, and it spins around like a top would.
Yep.
I'm assuming your laundry machine, you put it
Front
in
load.
front load, and it
Yes.
spins like a clock
Yes.
on the wall. Yeah. So that's why I tend to have issues, because if you fill it too full, or if you put the detergent in last,
Post-close.
you will see
Yes.
it. What Dad shared with me, because Dad is like, growing up, was our laundry guy.
connoisseur.
He was the guy. And what he shared with me when I like moved off to college and I was like learning how to do laundry for the first time ever in my life, was that you're supposed to start the laundry machine and like let the water run, and then put the detergent in, and then you put the clothes in once the detergent and the water have like mixed. Problem is, the new laundry machines
Don't run.
either they lock, or they sense that there's nothing in the washer, so they just don't. There's no water that fills up.
Sure.
So that can be problematic. Long story short, long story long, I'm a powder guy, but recent events have made me
Open the discussion.
think twice. And so I'm glad that you tweeted that this afternoon, because it further
Begs the question.
I'm looking forward to reading all 84 of these responses
Me too.
to
Me
see
too.
if I might have to switch over to the Tide Pod thing.
Fair enough.
Not good on pizza, definitely good in the
Yes.
washing machine.
Yes, confirmed. So I want to get into some of the games from last weekend. I know we're a couple days removed. You guys went up to Chicago. We went over to the New York Jets.
You went over to New Jersey.
New Jersey. Unfortunately, did not come out with a W. It was a tough day. They're a good team, and it's a division game. The games are always tough. Example A being week 3 this year with you guys. So, I don't have a ton to say about the game. We made a couple plays. They made a couple more, and we'll see them. I think we play them the week before you guys, or the week before we play you in December. We have 3 division games in a row with New England, the Jets, and then you guys in December. So that's just one short month away. But we are playing we're hosting the Vikings. We got 2 home games in a row, which is always nice.
Love that.
Especially because we only had 2 games at home before our week 7 bye week. So we are missing some home games, which the NFL loves to give us late home games.
So you'll have 2 home games and 4 away games going into your bye week.
At LA, home to the Titans, at Miami, at Baltimore, home Pittsburgh, and then at Kansas City. So we have Minnesota. We're hosting the Vikings Sunday at 1:00 this week, and then we have Cleveland next week. So you guys, I'll let you guys hit on your game with Chicago. You beat them 35-32, and I'll let you take it from here.
Yeah, there was one thing I wanted to mention about y'all's game first. Obviously, didn't see any of it. We played at the exact same time on Sunday. However, I think we need to give credit where credit is due to whoever is running the New York Jets social media pages. Because after they beat us a few weeks ago, and then this past Sunday, they put out some unbelievable content. They trolled us on the elevator. So whenever we win at home, or whenever we win, there's a in the stadium, they do a picture, one of the pictures from the victory. They screen print it on the elevator doors. And so they did a funny like Jets photo elevator thing. And then I think they also somebody from their team did a Waddle celebration, like mocked Jalen Waddle celebration, which is whatever. We still have
Nothing
to play.
will be as bad as
play them again.
Nothing will be as bad as Gesicki's gritty.
Oof.
I
don't know that you would want to mock that though. Anyway, so I think there was some content around the Waddle thing. Anyway, I saw Sunday where they did like the zoom in of the rendering of the new Buffalo Stadium and like changed the score.
That's fair. Like you said, we got to play them. We got to play them again.
Got to play them again, but also got to give credit where credit is due. They're doing a really good job. I have a lot of respect for the teams that allow their social media departments to have a little bit of an edge, a little bit of troll in their game, because that's what social media is for. It's fun.
Well, the fans love it.
The fans go
which
nuts.
Is mainly what it's for.
Yeah, and so respect. So we traveled up to Chicago this week. Always kind of a question mark on weather when you go to Chicago. Thankfully, last year we were there in the preseason, so it was like sunny and 70s.
Grass was still nice.
Grass was perfect. It was week 1 of the preseason, so it had not been played on. This year we got lucky with the weather. Relatively, it was a sunny day, clear day, very windy. It had stormed. Big storm moved in on Saturday before the game as we were coming into town. 40, 50 mile an hour winds, really causing some turbulence on the flight. But we felt the kind of after effects of that on Sunday with the wind, although it was still a really nice day. Couple things of note. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle playing out of their minds.
I saw they were on track to break the like a combined receiver record for like 2 guys on one team.
Yeah, I mean they are both in the top 5 in receiving yards. Tyreek is running away with it. No pun intended. But yeah, those guys are playing out of their minds. Tyreek did a backflip as part of his touchdown celebration on Sunday, which was bonkers. I didn't even see it. I've seen him do a backflip before, but doing it after a touchdown is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So this week we play Cleveland at home. The Fighting Cade Yorks are coming to town, friend of the pod. Sunday at 1 p.m. Last game before our bye week. And then I will be heading to Baton Rouge for my first game since I left.
Very nice.
After the national championship. Yeah, so I'm pretty pumped about that, but got to finish strong here going into bye week number 11.
Bye week bonanza.
We are at week 10 in the NFL, dude. That is bonkers.
Can't believe
bonkers.
This is about the time where it starts flying.
Yep.
Week 7 to 13 is gone.
See, to me, I've said this a couple times. I don't know if I've said it on the pod. 6 to 11 are the weeks to me that are like they don't exist, because it's just like back to back to back, just games to the face, just in a row. And yeah, and you're right. It's 7-13, whatever you want to say. Like that middle third of the season is just, it flies by, and you turn around and it's like week 12, week 13, you're playing meaningful football games, and this is where it's really about to get fun. So I'm pumped, and I'm really looking forward to this next stretch. But we got some work right here in front of us on Sunday.
No doubt. Before I want to get into the salute of service deal. Pretty cool what has transpired over the last week or so. But before we do that, we need to announce our after the snap clutch snap of the week for week number 9. Drum roll, please.
Can we overlay
Chris, can you overlay a drum roll?
Can we overlay Christmas vacation outside the
Yes.
house waiting on the Christmas lights
Yes.
before that? That'd be great. Thank
Super
you.
specific. Congratulations, week 9. After the snap clutch of the week is going to Josh Harris of the Los Angeles Chargers, 37-yard game-winning field goal with a new kicker, Cameron Dicker.
First game.
Yes, first game with the Chargers, and you get a game-winning field goal. He also had a game winner for, I think, the Eagles. Maybe. There was another team that he kicked for 1 week earlier this season. It was his first game for them, and he made a game-winning field goal also for them. So he's got 2 games played, 2 game-winning field goals.
Amazing.
Congratulations to Josh Harris, friend of the pod, great guy. Congratulations, Josh.
Let's go. Congrats.
Jumping into the our next kind of topic, we have both been selected by our respective teams, 2 years in a row, as the Salute to Service nominee for our teams representing the NFL. So that means basically, for those of you familiar with the way the NFL man of the year, is that the official man of the year, Walter Payton Man of the Year award that gets voted on at the end of the season. Each team will nominate somebody for that. But this award is very similar in the fact that fans get to vote on their team's player or another team's player. And the winner gets $25,000 to a charity of their choosing or a charity that they work with related to the armed forces. So or in the Veterans Society. So super thrilled that we are both able to be the nominees. I work with a couple local charities up here. I know you obviously do as well. We both have our events on Saturday that I know we are both looking forward to.
While we're talking about it,
yep, go ahead.
Tell the people about your Saturday event.
Sure. So this Saturday at First Line Brewing in Orchard Park from 12 to 3, I'm hosting a barbecue event for veterans, but everybody can come, and there's no limit. It's not only limited to veterans. Veterans can bring their families. Anybody's welcome. It's from 12 to 3 on Saturday. Veterans will get a free beer and a barbecue plate made by a good friend of mine, local Buffalo Bills fan. We'll call him Barbecue Freddy. He is going to crush it. He has a huge smoker that he's bringing, and he's going to cook some pulled pork, some brisket, kind of the whole 9 yards. I think there's some wings in there, so it's going to be a great time. But anybody else can pay for, you can get your beer through First Line. I am just providing the free beer for the veterans and the barbecue for the vets. So, or the barbecue for other people as well, but the vets are getting everything on
Vets
me.
drink free.
Vets drink free. That's right.
Let's go.
So hope to see the local Buffalo community out there. Would love to see everybody show up on Saturday. So I'll hand it off to you, hand the baton over.
Yeah. So doing something very similar to what Reed is doing. This is my second year partnering with Mission Barbecue down here in South Florida to do a Veterans Day lunch, barbecue lunch, similar to Reed's lunch for vets and active duty military in our South Florida community. And so obviously Mission Barbecue is very first responder and armed forces forward, as is First Line Brewing up in OP. And so Yeah, we had a great turnout last year. Got to shake hands and really spend some time having some good conversations with veterans and active duty military in our community. I'm super looking forward to this one. I've had several teammates tell me how pumped they are to participate again. A bunch of them came out last year, and just to be there and to give a thank you it means so much to the people who have sacrificed so much for us, that for a professional football player to show up and shake their hand, it means so much more than so many people realize. And I know it was very rewarding for a lot of those guys last year. A lot of them have committed to come back. A lot of new guys have committed this year. So really pumped for Saturday. That is Saturday, November 12th from 1 to 3 at Mission Barbecue in Davie, Florida. So if you know a veteran or a active duty military member, share that information with them, both in the Buffalo and surrounding communities, as well as the South Florida communities. We would love to have you all out. Bring your family, bring your loved ones. We want to love on y'all a little bit. So with that wraps up our Salute to Service Month chatter.
We will be posting. You can follow either Blake or I on Twitter and Instagram. We will also be posting the link to vote on the After the Snap Pod Instagram and Twitter as well.
Link in bio, baby.
If you would like to vote for either of us, we know a few people, obviously friends and family, that are voting for Blake and I both on alternate days. So if you have a preference, feel free to vote with your heart or vote with your mind.
That 25K can go a long way to help the members in our community who have done so much for us. So
absolutely.
The link is in my bio of my social accounts. Reed will do the same, but it'll also be on the After the Snap Pod, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok.
Absolutely. I know you mentioned it in the intro, but wanted to talk a little bit about how impressive this LSU Tiger football team has been the last few weeks, coming off a bye week, hosting Alabama, number what were they, number 3, I think, in the CFB.
Are we going back? Are we going back to Atlanta, baby?
Are we going back to Atlanta, baby?
I'm reserving. I'm keeping my head about this. Hosting Alabama this past weekend, beating them on a 2-point play in overtime, which we were FaceTiming, both thought it was a fantastic call. Definitely would have done the same thing. I remember watching, and they scored the touchdown in the first play. Jaden Daniels 25-yard scramble to the right, and I remember thinking, just go for it.
Have to.
It's not worth battling back and forth, because Bryce Young had started to make some plays in the fourth quarter, and I was having none of it. So I think, they've got Arkansas coming up this week, going to Arkansas.
Yep.
Which historically is always a tough out for LSU. I know I was 1-1 there. I think you were 1-1 as well.
The only time I lost to Arkansas was in Baton Rouge. Was
Okay. So you're 2-0.
Was your senior year. The rest of the time,
yes.
Rest of the time I beat Arkansas.
Yes, that's correct. Okay, so fair enough. So you're 4-1. Historically, a tough place to play, and then we'll talk about A&M when the time comes. But Arkansas this week, big game. Arkansas is 5-4. They got a good quarterback. It will be a great game, but LSU has to. I thought LSU has to keep their wits about them and kind of stay humble and make sure they're not overlooking. But Brian Kelly was asked in a press conference this week about a potential trap game. Arkansas being a trap game. Looking forward to, if they're looking ahead to A&M or looking ahead to the SEC championship, whatever that might be. And he said, a trap game, something along the lines of a trap game being a trap game is if you're not going about your business the right way, if you're not prepared. Sorry, I have a fly in here. If you're not prepared and doing the right thing. So if you are mentally there, if you're trusting the process, you're doing the right thing day in and day out, he's saying there is no such thing as a trap game. So I really like that. I thought that was pretty good. But that's, I'm on board with it.
That sounds very Brian Kelly-esque.
It does. Very
But
businessy.
I respect it.
I respect it.
I think
go ahead.
with LSU having the last two SEC games on the road, they're really going to have to stay focused. It is hard to go into Arkansas, and it's even harder to go into College Station and win both of those games. I don't care how good or bad the team is. A road game in the SEC, specifically the SEC West, is hard. I believe they have a win in their pocket. I could be wrong on that. But I think they only have a win in their pocket if Ole Miss loses to Alabama, because LSU has one SEC loss. Ole Miss has one SEC loss to LSU. If Ole Miss beats Alabama this week, LSU has to win out, or
correct.
They have to count on Ole Miss losing another game, which I don't see happening. But let's say
Ole
Ole Miss
still has to play Arkansas and Mississippi State. So
let's say Ole Miss loses to Alabama. LSU has a win in their pocket.
Yes.
So has a loss in their pocket, so they can lose to one of Arkansas or A&M and still go to the SEC championship. Now, if they want to look at going to the college football playoff, which is still in reach,
I think
it's still in reach. They're ranked number 7, and
I think I'm
Ohio
only saying
State,
that because the playoff committee has never been presented with this
correct
situation.
Ohio State and Michigan still have to play each other. That is the last game of their
this
regular
weekend,
season.
I think. No, last game. I thought I saw something about a big Ohio State this weekend. No, Ohio State plays Indiana. I'm sorry, I don't know. Nebraska, Michigan. That's what I was looking at. It was Michigan versus a red team, and it was Nebraska. So
gotcha.
I apologize.
So they still have to play each other.
It's always the last game of the season for sure.
And so you've got Georgia, you've got Ohio State, you've got Michigan, TCU. All 4 of those teams are undefeated. One of them will drop out of the top 4 after the last game for obvious reasons. Tennessee is the likely next man up, or Oregon. Oregon is still undefeated as well, although it is hard to argue for Oregon over Tennessee, given that Tennessee lost to Georgia, who was
smacked Oregon,
who was an undefeated number 1 team the entire year. Sorry, Oregon is not undefeated. They're undefeated in their conference. I was looking at the wrong metric. So, and then LSU is right behind. So LSU would be a 10-2 team, 11-2, trying to make the playoff. And if they go into the SEC championship in Atlanta and beat Georgia, there's no way they're not making the playoff, in my mind. There's no way, because that would leave Georgia with 1 loss, Ohio State or Michigan with 1 loss, Tennessee with 1 loss. Alabama has 2 losses, so they're out. Oregon has 1 loss. LSU has 2 losses. You tell me. We went from having so many undefeated teams to that number is about to drop quick. So
yes, very quick.
I'm super looking forward to these last few weeks of the season, mostly because LSU has a real shot.
Fighter's
So,
chance. No doubt.
I'm pumped for it. I'm also pumped for another big tournament coming up here at the end of the year. I've already been seeing advertisements for it. John Hamm has been hilarious in his
He's great.
FIFA ads as Santa Claus, being upset that Christmas is being overtaken by the World Cup. But I'm super pumped for the World Cup. I think it's going to be an absolute mess out in Qatar, but that's what's going to make it so amazing, is that the whole mess is going to allow the USA to sneak right under the radar. What are your thoughts?
I sure hope so. I mean, I've been looking forward to this for 4.5 years. It's my favorite tournament ever. And I'm thrilled that it's a week and a half, a little over a week away. We'll get into a little more of a preview and a little more, maybe a little bit of a deep dive, a shallow dive. We'll jump into the World Cup kiddie pool next week.
Love that. Love that.
But I feel like, and I did retweet and comment on Twitter about it, the president of FIFA coming out and saying he shouldn't have awarded the World Cup to Qatar. I just feel like that is such a backhanded slap in the face, a little bit, to fans of the game, the players, the teams, kind of everybody involved, because it has been known for 8+ years now since they awarded it to this country. All of the human rights issues that are going on, all of the stadium issues, people dying from building the stadiums. It's a bad look, and it's basically you're basically admitting sort of that there's some corruption going on, which FIFA is corrupt in general. And there's actually a great Netflix special about to come out about that, fittingly enough, right before the World Cup starts.
How convenient.
Can't wait to watch that. But yeah, it's frustrating to hear him say that, because there's so many more countries that deserved to host a World Cup. I know North America is hosting it in 2026. Can't wait. But I don't know. It just feels gross. And props to I believe it's Denmark, who are playing in a completely blank kit. I believe they are, because that is their form of protesting playing in the tournament. They don't want to give any attention to that side of things, which I respect it. I think they just have like the country look, like their flag maybe on the kit. I'll have to look at it again, but there was no sponsor last time I looked. Pretty interesting.
How can you say that it was a mistake to award Qatar the World Cup when it's about the bid? It's about who bids the most money for the World Cup. It always has been. It's the same way with the Super Bowl. It's the same way with
March
Madness. I think the Olympics, like
All-Star game.
It's about money. And you can come out and say, yeah, it stinks, but they offered up the most money. And so you have to deal with the consequences of it being in a tough place.
The fan villages. Did you see the pictures?
Yes, it's
posted?
Horrible. They're in shipping
containers. What are we doing?
I had a funny. So Kylie Greathouse, one of my best friends on the planet, sent me a message. TYFYS, salute to Service Week. Also coming to the game on Sunday. Let's go.
Awesome.
He sent me that tweet. and
About the shipping containers? Or the
Yes.
quote.
the shipping containers. And he said, I too have slept in a shipping container in Qatar, but I didn't pay
Pay for
$200
it.
to stay in there.
Classic.
I thought I
That's classic
I like
Kylie.
almost spit out my water. But yeah, comical what they're doing. I mean, we saw how the headlines that came out about the alcohol and stuff
Yep.
a month or so ago with all of the restrictions that they're having there. But what I'm sort of equating this to, and it's a shame that we're already like slamming on the brakes because it hasn't even started yet. But what I'm equating this to is when the Winter Olympics was in Kiev, Russia, and it was an absolute disaster and it was a mess, and they were sleeping on like cardboard, like corrugated
Mhm.
boxes, mattresses, like terrible conditions. And that's what I feel like is about to happen in Qatar. I could be very wrong, but just from everything that we're starting to see, the little tidbits that are being dropped from this year's World Cup it is very disappointing. But in
Mhm.
the end, the bid is about money, and FIFA has a responsibility to the fans who are about to watch that the product is the same, and the expectation is that the athletes will be able to go out there, and saying this from a professional athlete standpoint, you and I, they can go out there and compete at the absolute highest level, and that there is no other distraction impeding that. And
Yep.
so shame on FIFA if they don't allow the players to do that. And if they allow the circumstances of where they're playing the games to get in the way of that. That is all I have to say on the matter.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I agree, and that's all I got too. So
Well, that is a wrap on this week's episode. Thank you for joining us. As always, you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at After the Snap Pod. Subscribe to us on YouTube, on Spotify, and on Apple Podcasts. You can find the link to vote for us for the Salute to Service Award presented by USAA on our social media accounts, as well as our podcast account. Thank you, as always, for joining us. We will see you next week. This has been After the Snap, tales from two brothers who live life upside down.